Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another episode of Master Phil in your corner with your host,
Master Phil. Hey guys, how you doing? I'm somewhere. I'm usually next to you, but I'm in the home studio today.
That's that. It feels like it should be here, but you're over there.
Yeah, but I'm really on the other side. You know, I'm going to put a double mirror here and just bounce everything all over the place. Really mess things up. But all right, guys, set for another great episode today. Today's subject will be fear. And we got to ring the bell for another round, don't we, Mr. Dougie Doug Fresh? And
yes, we had some technical difficulties with the music, but yes, that was in our little thing here. But yes, ding, ding,
ding, ding. All right, guys. Welcome to another episode of Master Phil in your corner with Master Phil and the lovely and talented Dougie Fresh Friedman from the Undefeated Media Studios. And today's subject will be fear. And what is fear? But before we get into our subject, I want to give a plug to our sponsors. The Body Bell Method for kettlebell dynamic training, certifications, workouts. We also have Survival Strong. We have for self-defense books and virtual training, as well as UbiquFit for ubiquitous fitness. That's UBQ Fit, the world's first virtual, fully integrated training platform for trainers, meditation, yoga, registered dietitians. You got to definitely check out the app. It's free to join. That's UBQ Fit. And we do have a very special guest today. Guy's a very accomplished young man. He's a master RKC. He is also was a rescue diver, a rescue swimmer in the Navy. So he would jump in the water and swim and save people and outswim sharks and everything. He's incredibly strong, incredibly fit. He's been on a plethora of these fitness type publications through Dragon Door. They always want to use this guy, and he does an incredible job. And actually, I learned something from him. And I actually give him credit in one of my videos. When you're doing a floor press with kettlebells, and you have two heavy bells, and you're lying on your back, and you have to get them up onto your chest, how do you do it? Well, there's a couple different ways, and I really never liked any of them because they weren't great. But this guy showed me this years ago, where you roll up, put your hand in one, and then bring your leg to push the other kettlebell into position and rack them. And in one of my videos that I use this move, I give him props because, hey, man, you always got to give props. So without further ado, let us welcome our guest on today's episode, Robert Alexander Miller. Welcome, Rob.
Hey, thanks, Phil. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Great to meet your esteemed colleague here. It's the first time I'm talking with you. Appreciate it. How are you? What's going on, Phil?
Hey, man. Hey, just busy, kicking it, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. This whole COVID thing has changed the world dramatically.
Yes.
Especially in doing what we do, man. We're into fitness, we're into teaching our classes, we're into training people, we're into that contact, we're into contact sports.
Yep, very hands-on.
And you know what? Now everything's got to be hands off.
Right.
Masks on, but hands off.
Mask on, hands off. Yes. And that's our new culture, I think. I think that's going to be the way. I think what you mentioned, you've been working on it for a long time, but you brought it up to me last week. The UbiquFit, something like that, is like a remote training platform. So we're trying to have to, I don't know, they say pivot, you got to pivot your industry. This is a total different feeling for personal training, though, you know what I'm saying? So and we're sitting here trying to provide the same service when it is hands off, whereas before you needed those tactile cueings and all that other stuff to really get your point across. So It's not a pivot. It's a transition into another.
Transition.
It's another industry, Phil. I gotta be honest with you. It's not
Yes.
it's not personal training so much as it's fitness consultants.
Yes, yeah, because the thing is now, when you're training someone hands-on, you can actually put your hand somewhere, push it, pull it, whatever. You can't do that anymore. The other thing is that when I have a class, you have 15, 20, 25 people in a class, okay? There's a certain energy going on, right?
Right.
I mean, one of the biggest challenges I had when I went 100% virtual was the lack of feedback. Especially when you're talking to a group, like, where's my feedback? Where's my energy? That was one of the most difficult things for me to do, was to get up to that camera.
Exactly. I watched, and I didn't watch it for very long, but old me might have. I flipped to the channels and I saw WWE, right? And here these guys are. It's a total show, right? Stage show. They flip each other, they throw each other, and they feed off the energy of the audience. You know what I'm saying? It's like, here are these guys, girls, also throwing each other around, pumping each other up, getting character for no audience. It's got to be like a dress rehearsal, an intense dress rehearsal, I suppose it is. But like, same thing goes for us. Like you got a full class of martial artists, and whatever age group, whatever skill level, still that enthusiasm motivates you to, I don't know, teach, exchange the knowledge, hour by hour. And so it's an interesting time. I kind of want to. I don't always want to be a professional wrestler, but right now it'd be tough to get that mode,
Kind of tough. Yeah. I think you have to get a little bit bigger though.
Oh yeah,
You're fit, but I'm not. I got to put on about 100 pounds.
Thanks. No, I think that's over with, man. I think that's. You called me a young man in the intro, and I'm like, young man. Yeah, it's over with.
Well, I hate to say it, but kind of to me, you still are.
No, that's cool. I appreciate that. I'll take it where I can get you.
Listen, I still refer to my friends as kids. So.
Yeah.
Way old.
But that's okay though. You're looking good, man. You're setting the standards. What did you just turn 58 last week?
Yes, sir. Yep. And
hey, happy.
Thanks. I did 580 push-ups.
580.
A couple hours. 580. Yeah.
What's the significance of that number?
58. So 10 for every year.
Okay. You deserve it, I suppose. That's insane, man.
So hey, it was funny. I couldn't figure out like something really divisible. So what I did was I did sets of 30 for the first 180, and then I got bored and I went to sets of 50. So I bang it out sooner. But it was fun. I consider like doing kind of like your exercise snacks. I'm sure you're familiar with.
No, yeah, for sure. Those are useful. So you didn't just do them in like sets of 50, consecutive sets of 50.
Well, I did it in about 3 hours.
Okay.
3 hours. Yeah. Something like that.
I like that. That's still a pretty manly task.
Well, it's because I had to teach, though. So I had to take all time.
Okay.
I had 2 hours of class. I had to teach. So,
I gotcha.
But, I just wanted to bang it out and get it done.
How many consecutive push-ups did you do? Like today? Fresh. If you had a test of some kind, what's that?
I could do 100.
Unbroken. 100 unbroken?
Yeah.
Hello.
It's my little one. We'll take care of the dog.
That's cool. All right, I'm gonna test myself this week. I bet I can get 80 straight with unbroken, but I guess that old man strength. I gotta work on it a little bit, right?
No, do you want me to tell you what would help me with up my push-up number? Those Nordic push-ups.
Yeah. I'm quite familiar.
Yeah, I do those, and my straight number on those, my record actually winds up is 58.
58.
And low on the Norbert push-ups.
We used to do sets of 50.
Yeah, but so what happens is that that made my base number of my regular push-ups go up.
For sure. Neuro grips. Pick up some neuro grips.
I love them. They're the best. The best. But the funny thing is that as we are talking about these current times, which heck, you can't help but talk about it. You know what?
I know. You can't miss it every conversation.
I know. Every conversation about it. And you say, fear. This is what comes to mind is fear. I'm walking down the street the other day. I'm walking my dog. I mean, well, she's a pit bull, so I can understand people being afraid. But
and you don't don't forget, you.
But this guy is walking toward me, right? And he like jumps into the street, puts his mask
Yeah.
on, almost gets killed by a car just not to pass
Yeah.
by me. I
Yeah.
mean,
I see it myself. I live in Chicago, and it's everywhere. That's everywhere, and I don't know, man. Maybe he's right. I don't know.
we don't know.
I can't bring myself to do it. Bring myself to do it. I'm gonna walk past you I'm gonna nod and I'm gonna say hello. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not worried about it. I mean, because if we take the textbook definition of fear, right?
Right.
What is fear? It's an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous and is likely to cause pain, harm,
Sure.
threat. It's a very distressing emotion aroused by impending danger, evil. Something bad is going to happen, and it can be imagined or real. And the funny thing is, if you look at it, some people's fear. Some people it's a real true fear, and other people it's something that's very irrational. And I think that's right now because some people with this the situation they have no fear, and other people are cowering in the corners, petrified.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's I'm not going to be an expert in this, and I'm definitely not going to say something to make me eat my words in the future, but some people are more at risk than others with the whole coronavirus situation. So you got to take that into account. You don't know the dude's situation, why he jumps into the street, putting himself in further danger. He's not afraid of the car. So they might not consider their surroundings in fear of something. He might be on 30 medications, a cancer. You don't know what I'm saying. So it's like, I don't want to say like, oh, this fear is totally unjustified, but they got us conditioned, and fear is an instinct that has helped human evolution to the point to where it is today, survival. You know what I'm saying? It's just like fear is bad. It is also very good as well. And so I suppose we'll see how it all plays out with that. But I'm gonna go out there and say that a lot of this is unnecessary. I think the fear leads to other fear. And I think that's kind of the thing that we got going on. It's the unsureness, it's the mixed facts that are out there, the misinformation, the information, say it how you want, the fake news, the real news. You can't tell the difference anymore.
Right.
And a lot of people are going to err on the side of caution, man, because they're not like us. They don't think the risk is worth the reward, or they're not as desperate as some others. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how I explain it. But it is it's tough to get people back into the gym, back into their old routines or the things that they normally might used to do. Chicago's shutting down further. The governor here is making restaurants close down. I can't see how these people are going to survive. These restaurant owners, these waitresses, these waiters, these general managers of big restaurants that are shutting down for the next indefinite amount of time. So I don't know. That frightens me more than anything, man, because again, I take the risk. I'm like a lot of quote unquote healthy Americans that would prefer to go out there and not suspend their livelihood for, the fear and the hopes that I might one day croak. Right? It's gonna happen.
It happens to all of us.
It's gonna happen. It's inevitable.
Right.
It's inevitable. And hide from it. You're not gonna live your life. You're gonna sit here and cower in the corner and forget to live.
Yeah, you see, there's a difference between living and existing. And what I'm talking about, one of the things that fear does, when fear paralyzes you, you make poor choices. Okay, here, just an example, a perfect example is what I was citing about the guy who, jumped out of the street, jumped into the street. Yeah. I mean, okay, I understand you're afraid of this, but that's a very irrational thing to do. I'm on the sidewalk. There's cars parked, and then there's cars going by, and he jumped basically into the street. That is an irrational act.
It happened more than once. I've seen more than 10 times people do the same thing. I'm like, dude, are you serious?
You almost got killed. I mean, again, same thing almost happened to a woman the other day when I was walking down the street. The same thing. I'm like, you're not going to die by walking past me.
but that risk might be worth. And you have to first of all assume that every single person you look at has coronavirus. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
weird assumption. It's like
I know.
it's like during flu season, presuming every single person you cross has the flu.
Yeah.
That's a weird fear to live in. I mean, we're
Oh,
social
yeah.
animals. We must interact to feel happiness.
This is the other thing. This is the other thing that people have to deal with, especially when you're talking about children. I'm more worried about our children, even though I'm worried about a lot of
Like the
adults.
development of your children, not
Oh my
their
God,
strength,
yes.
the future development. Yeah. I don't have kids, but a lot of my clients do, and that's the same conversation, man. They're like, no school, where are they going to get their social skills?
I know. I mean, it's terrible, and then these kids are so pent up. I mean, they're sitting there looking at a screen for hours, and they're not getting activity. I mean, look, is the kid going to do a Zoom karate class? Come on, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
And it's kind of, and here's where you come in. You know what I'm saying? It's now you got to figure out a way to motivate that kid to go log in and do a virtual karate class with you. How do we do this, man? And how do we give them the same result or similar results or the same emotional feedback, the good positive stuff, the endorphins, the whole social aspect of, I took that guy on 3 weeks ago and I took him on today and I did something way better than I did 3 weeks ago. How do you show them that chartable progress?
Right. You know, that's I really don't know if it's achievable in a martial arts venue. I'll tell you straight up. But I will tell you this though. What I did when we got hit with the lockdown, what I did with all of my kettlebell and fitness students, I gave everyone a relatively big bell and a small bell, 2 bells.
To take home with them?
Yes. All my paying members.
Provide for everybody, so that's your only dedicated member base, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, my dedicated member base. Okay. And what I did was for that 3.5 months, 4 classes a week, I led classes with only 2 kettlebells and body weight, and people were so thankful.
Clever and unique, and what about getting away from the stress? The fear,
I know.
You know what I'm saying? The only way to get through the fears to face it and sort it out, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, hey, listen. Okay, here.
I said that before.
Yeah, hey, listen. Well, I'll tell you, you've done some pretty daring things, like when you were a rescue swimmer. So, how did you handle that? I mean, jumping into icy water, or there could be sharks there. There could be a wreckage. Who knows? I don't know. So
the worst. You're most afraid of cold. You wear a dry suit. We were stationed in Jacksonville, Florida, so luckily most of the year was pretty warm. But deployed overseas, going into the North Atlantic and Mediterranean, the water could be cold. So, especially November, December, those months. But I don't know. A lot of the guys I don't have a lot of rescues. You know what I'm saying? We were well trained for that. It was a collateral duty. I was a more sonar, radar kind of specialist, counter drug operations. I've done a lot of missions with like SEAL teams, like boarding operations, deploying them fast ropes, etc. from my helicopter. And I learned a lot from them, truly. Through training and everything becomes, you're ready for it. Everything's a progression. They don't just throw you into the mix. Like, here, good luck with this. Right. See you later. No, everything's a progression. You're well trained. You're conditioned through fear. And you got to face it every single day, man. Like, you know how terrible it is to be in the water for 6 straight hours in training? It's terrible.
Maybe at the beach I did it, but
No, but it's terrible. These guys, they don't want to drown you, but they make you think they want to drown you, and so that's training. But by the time you're pretty much ready for these types of missions. And then you do the mission, and you're not afraid, man. Literally, the weirdest thing, you're not afraid until like a few days after the mission. You're like, holy shit, that was insane. And so that's the thing about guys like, people like us that were, you got to consider too, I was 21, and there was nothing that could stop us, any of us. Nothing.
No.
I don't know.
No.
We just,
fear was repelling off of things, jumping.
Yeah. It's just like fear was something you'd experience only to do it. You don't feel anything until you're a little bit afraid of it. Kind of in that frame of my life, I suppose. I don't know. In that paradigm, in that environment, in that group of guys, the operational tempo that we were under. And so, but the way that the SEALs gear up for their missions, it's pretty impressive to watch.
Yeah.
They've seen it, they know it, and even if they're the new guys on the mission, they I guess understand the seriousness. Like I'm a jokey guy. Like I like to mess around a little bit before stressful situations. Like I'm not a silent guy. Like in any situation, I might say a little joke to increase levity, and people mistake that as like I'm not very serious type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm fully in the moment. This is a coping mechanism, please.
Yeah.
But these guys, they don't play no games, man. It's locked and loaded from the time they even wake up in the morning. So I don't know. I guess it was after my second cruise that I started to take on that type of seriousness with, I don't know, approaching those missions and expecting junior people to get rid of that. This is not time to joke, man. It's time to go. I don't know.
Yeah.
But fear to me has always been this like nervousness, this innate anxiety that isn't going anywhere anyway. So why not? I don't know. Do what you want to do. I don't know.
Yeah, the thing is that it's funny that you bring these things up, and if you think about what happens physiologically when you experience fear, the body produces cortisol and adrenaline to prepare for the fight or flight that they always talk about. But here's something that
also depends on the sorry. It also depends on the moment of the fear, whether it's like this, I don't know, do I gotta go to a doctor's appointment? I'm afraid of that, or almost getting hit by a car. So like, how long do you have to prepare yourself to address this fear kind of thing? So anyway, sorry.
So yeah, no, I'm just kind of relating it to like a self-defense situation where you have the fight or flight syndrome, and I actually talk about it in one of my books, Survival Strong. Something that happens more often than not is people freeze, and you know what? This is what I'm seeing a lot.
And that's our nightmare, right?
Yeah, freezing, and I see people paralyzed by the current situation that we're in. People are paralyzed with fear. They're like deer in the headlights, and you know what? And I really can't blame them. I really can't blame them, because if they're being bombarded, and they were never taught how to deal with fear. So think about it. Doing the things that we do, things you've done, things I've done, you kind of learn how to deal with fear. You put yourself out there. You have something
with the fight or flight.
Yeah, Phil, if I could add something real quick. So real quick, just because I've known Phil forever, and I was, I was coming to American Eagle, and just the knowledge and lessons that we were taught, I feel like there's nothing that I'm feeling. It's like, this is like a cocky thing to say, but there's nothing that actually like triggers that paralyzing fear factor. Like we were taught like to deal with confrontation, to be in control of your body. And I honestly feel, thanks to Phil, like, and going to American Eagle, like there's no, like if someone to pull, like God forbid, like someone to jump me or pull a gun on me, like I wouldn't freeze and stop. I would like still be in the moment kind of thing. So, definitely assessing. Something that
you're assessing. You're frozen, but assessing.
Yeah, I'm in the moment. I would be in the moment. I would react. I wouldn't just be like, you know what I mean? And I feel like with these circumstances, like there's nothing that, you feel you have fear for like, losing a client or having, gaining a promotion of your job. Like, yeah, I understand that. But like, as far as what we're talking about today with fear, it's like, thank you, Master Phil, and thank you for the teachings at the beginning of, being like 10 years old, because now I feel I can go to any situation, walk down any street, and, have a knowledge of my surroundings and be able to take care of myself.
Right.
The thing when we're,
I think that's important.
We have, it's training. And this is what I was talking, because, I was talking to my 10-year-old, and she's like, oh, Dad, yeah, I'm nervous. I'm like, why aren't you still up? She goes, well, I took the test today. I don't know if I did good or bad. I go, you can't really worry about it because it's already over. But if you want to eliminate that anxiety, what you have to do is really prepare yourself. And if you consider reading a Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi, I mean, incredible book. He was victorious in 60 samurai combat. And then, after 60, he went up on a mountain and just, did art and made bonsai trees, grew bonsai trees. But he was so prepared that it just became like an automatic response. There was no thought involved. It was just reaction.
Right.
So what we have to do, if you're talking about like self-defense and so forth or training, you want to be so prepared that thought is taken out of the process and you have ultimate confidence. So how do we get people to be confident now? That's why sometimes I make posts, look, do I think that we have to be careful, cautious with this situation? Absolutely. This thing could kill you.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we reduce the risk? How do we do that? Is sitting in the corner of my house with covered in Lysol wipes going to do it? No, you have to live. How are we going to get people to address this and develop some confidence? So one of the things I do is I said, hey, listen, I drove to Florida, stopped here, stopped there. I didn't get it. Got tested. I've been tested 5 times. I've been all over the place from LA to Florida to Maine, driven everywhere. And I worked out in hotel gyms. I didn't get it. Okay. But why didn't I get it? Let's look at that. Let's look at the reasons. Okay. You look at the people who die from this. 94% of the people who have died from corona have not died from corona alone. They've died with corona, but they've had an average of 2.6 comorbidities. So, what can you do? So do your best to reduce those comorbidities. Eat right, get your proper amount of exercise, get good sleep, be at a reasonable weight. You're going to just improve your life dramatically if you do those certain things and maybe reduce some of your fear and anxiety.
Right. And for everything. I mean, that should be for every single disease. Like reduce your comorbidities and reduce the impact of the disease of anything. And so like, why does it take something like this? Why does it take fear mongering? And I don't even mean to use that word. Why does it take, because they drummed up a shitload of fear, man. I'm sorry. A lot of fear. Back in March, you know what I'm saying? Where the contagion rate was like 10 people a day nationwide. Now the contagion rate is like 60,000 people a day, and they're not even talking about the same level of fear. Like it's like, no, we're gonna open up schools and open up this, but not this. Whereas in March they shut it all down. And so in March we were faced with this imminent doom, and now we're faced with this okay, reduce your comorbidities, reduce your contacts, stay social distance, and we'll let the economies open up. Why? It's a must, but people are living in that, I don't know, the extreme fear, because I feel like the overtone is less be super afraid and be more cautious.
Well, it should.
That's where we're going.
It should be more cautious. You should be cautious. You should, don't sneeze and cough on people. Hence the reason for the masks and so forth. I mean, that's just common sense. Wash your hands. I mean, I'll tell you that there's so many times I've seen people be less than hygienic, to be nice, and they'll put their hands on other people. Then you'll wonder why things spread. Be hygienic, be responsible. But again, though, common sense is not too common, right? That's the thing that we have to do as a nation. I mean, even before this COVID came out, and I've been speaking about this, and I addressed this in my commencement speech when I got my master's degree. We have an issue in this country. We have an epidemic in this country. Over 300,000 people a year in this country die as a direct result of living a sedentary lifestyle. And if you look at those comorbidities, look at most of the comorbidities associated with COVID death, it's from a sedentary lifestyle. So
That's right.
I've been addressing these things forever, and as you, as most people like us, and then they'll call us like fitness nuts. Yeah, they're trying to call us crazy because of what we do. But you know what? We're the ones living the right lifestyle. A
Yeah, it
human
is. It's a
being.
tough lifestyle, but it's the right one.
Yeah, exactly. A human being is not meant to be 5'10", 320 pounds.
No,
No, no,
no,
no. You
no.
don't have to. You don't have to be ripped like you, or or
Or
like
you
Katie
at
or something.
58.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going along with that, I'm sure that being in good shape, your risks go down. And
Absolutely.
also, Phil, we were talking about like people who are passing from COVID also had vitamin D deficiency, and isn't it ironic that they want you to stay inside and not get sunlight?
Right. Stay home,
And the other
stay
thing is,
safe. Right.
yeah, and look, and I brought this up before, but and I know you're going to agree with me on this. We haven't discussed it all, but you know what? Your immune system operates on the same premise as your musculoskeletal system, right? You have to constantly test it
Mm-hmm.
to be stronger. So you know what? We're fighting off viruses, bacteria, millions a day. We're fighting, our body's fighting, keeping our immune system strong because we're moving around outside. For us locking down and staying in, that's like trying to get stronger by laying on the couch and watching Netflix. It's not going to happen. You're not putting
Exactly right.
muscle on like that.
No,
So,
no, that's not. I'd stay home, stay at home and save lives would only work if someone's bringing you food, like any civilization. Like it only works in one way, and it's somebody has to not stay home. So it's just a weird concept.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
weird
because look,
it's a weird thought because a
I
lot of
know.
people are growing up on this. This is the first freaking
Yeah,
social thought that they've had: stay home, save lives. And then that's
yeah,
like us with nuclear air raid drills when we were elementary school.
yeah,
You thought
yeah.
for sure you were going to
Oh,
die
yeah,
in a nuclear fallout situation. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And so, like, you got a third grader who's out here convinced that everybody in their family is going to die from this.
yeah.
Just because that's how third grade minds work. I remember when,
Of course.
first Tuesday of the month, nuclear drill. Why are we having this nuclear drill? Because there's going to be a meltdown and it's going to be, everybody's going to blow up. And so that's what they had us. That's why they did the drills. Not for the fear of it, but for the whole conditioning of society. I wonder still, do they do those drills?
No,
Like where you had to get under the desk and
under the
all
desk.
that.
That's
They
getting
do
to.
active shooter drills now, right? Active shooter
Yeah,
drills. That's what they
that's what they
got.
have now. Yeah,
So
that's a whole
you're
nother
supposed to be
thing.
uber afraid of active shooters instead of, I don't know, man. You know what I would do? I'd hide behind the desk. I'd run and hide. I'd ask for help. You know, like I don't know. People need
Yeah.
to be afraid of the victim these days. I think nobody's afraid of the victim. Like I don't know. Stand up for yourself. Make
Yeah.
the assailant afraid of approaching
Of
people.
you, you
Maybe
got to
that's
turn
afraid
the
of
tables.
little.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that
no, you're
little
right. No,
person.
you
I
got to
could take
flip.
him, and
Yep.
they approach that little person and get smoked. They're never approaching a little person the same way again.
Right.
And it's
You
like
have to.
that's the
You
way of
have to
nature, I
stand.
think.
Yep. Yeah, look, you have to make a stand, and look, it's not comfortable. I mean, one of the recent podcasts that talk about becoming uncomfortable. You have to make yourself uncomfortable if you're going to get anywhere. If you're not facing these fears, you're not addressing these things. It's going to stymie you. You're not going to have growth. You're not going to have progress. You're not going to move forward. And you talked about the whole thing. Yeah, stay at home, stay at home, stay at home. Yeah. Oh, and again, how are you going to get the food? Somebody's got to be making the food. Somebody's got to be producing the goods. Yeah. Who's making the goods if everybody's staying home? How are you getting that food if everybody's staying home? People, you cannot just sit there and lock down. Humans, like you said before, humans are social animals. A society that's on social. Society isn't one person sitting alone on an island. Society is a group of
Right.
people together, working toward the common good.
And
Okay.
so nature is risk, and Darwin has to kind of be right about this whole thing on
Yeah.
evolution. If we sit home and stay home and save lives, what's that going to mean for the future of our species? Like you said, we have to address. There's risk in nature. Nature is risk.
Yes.
Like we wouldn't arrive at such a comfortable lifestyle if we didn't assume that risk in past generations, even
Yep.
past species. You know, Homo sapiens are an evolved species, back before all that stuff. Neanderthals
Mhm.
had to assume a certain amount of risk as well, and that's a part of our DNA. Is I don't know. So it's like, what's the future evolution if in 2020 humans decided to start locking down, and now this starts to happen? We're gonna have translucent skin.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I'm afraid of a generation of Unabombers in 20 years. These kids have no social skills. I mean, it's bad enough they're
You
always
think
got their
so?
heads, they always got their heads in their on their
Yeah.
phones and on a computer and playing Roblox and everything else, and not interacting,
That's
like we did years ago.
that's a major. Yep. You're gonna have a bunch of serial killers because they have no empathy for other humans because they've never really contacted other humans.
I mean, I don't know. I
Is that
mean, I'm
possible?
just throwing it out there. I have no
For
idea.
how long is this even gonna last? How long are we gonna let this last? How long are we gonna let this last? I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
Seriously, somebody's got to
we,
bring the resources. I'm over here.
yep,
They're locking us down again. I can't take it.
I know.
So so I have a conspiracy theory friend. He's always cooking up with some conspiracy theories, and so some things that that resonate. And one of them is that you know this is not going to come out the right way, but I'll do my best. Is that you know with this you build certain immunities. There might be something like, and this might have been made in a lab. The next thing after this, if you didn't catch this and get the antibodies for this, you might be out of luck when the next thing comes out because you didn't build up your immune system from this COVID-19 thing. When COVID 2021 comes out, it might be way worse.
Right.
And because you didn't get the antibodies from 20, you might be worse off in the future. So like it's like like Phil, you said the immune system only gets better with testing it and flexing it. So basically shutting ourselves off from the next thing that comes around, because we sheltered ourselves away from this, maybe this was to help build the immune system for the next thing that comes around.
Well, there, what was demonstrated was a couple things, and still is being demonstrated, that A, we were pretty unprepared. B, fear was the best motivator to control us. It was so easy. It still is.
Yeah.
People are still running around in abject fear of this. I know some people who still have not left their house since March.
Okay? Yeah, I know those people too. And then there's the other people that believe it's complete hoax. You know what I'm saying? And so there's both sides of the fear spectrum being observed here. Those people that haven't left their house, they might have those comorbidities that you talk about. They might be ill prepared for such a pandemic. But if there were a more powerful, and again, I'm not tempting whatever there is out there, more powerful scenario, a more powerful pandemic, say like an Ebola with a contagion rate of whatever, that just the plague, something like that. There's another side of fear that goes to show us that we would be ill prepared for that as well. So, which leads me to believe that maybe we shouldn't be so afraid of things in nature. I don't know. And again, you got to take the precautions to not do its thing. But like, if it's Ebola, obviously go nowhere near it.
Yeah.
But like, I just feel like we wouldn't lock down the right way and for the right reasons, and now I feel like we're never coming unlocked down. I don't know. So
it's
there's a whole spectrum of.
Yeah, I feel right now it's easy to elicit the fear and enforce a lockdown. I think it's easy for it. It's been demonstrated over and over again.
A lot of people, yep, they're buying into it.
Yep.
And it's being sold too. It's being sold. The fear is being sold. At first, it was N95 masks. If you didn't have that, yeah, you were doomed.
Yeah.
And now it's like just put a old piece of cloth over your face. You'll be good to go.
And you're fine.
And so the whole narrative has changed a million times. Now it's the antibodies. Now they last. Now they don't. This and that. I don't know, man. All I know is most people. This is also too like the first or second generation that we were ever even allowed to see these microscopic entities.
Yeah.
So we were never even allowed to. I was talking to my grandma. She was born in 35, so I was talking to her about this, and if she feels like it's a good thing that we lock down and this and that. She's like, Robert, I went to school every day with polio as a threat. We never did anything different. We went to school. The parents sent you to school, said, good luck. When was polio eradicated? 1951. You know what I'm saying? And so before
It took 10
my
years to
grandma's
develop.
2 generations ago.
Yeah.
So we would just literally 1918 Spanish flu. What were the technology of microscopes and even the knowledge of antibodies back then? You know what I'm saying? And so like we had this natural understanding of how to curb these viruses without drumming up the massive amounts of fear that we did.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Maybe we're lucky we have all this technology. Maybe it's a curse.
Like everything, like as in most things, most swords are double-edged. It's just, it just matters the way you wield it.
One of my friends told me, "Would you want a double-edged sword? There's 2 edges. It's double the deadly weapon."
But
you got to know how to handle it.
You got to know how to handle it, man. You got to know how to handle it. You got to make sure you're cutting the right way with the right one.
So we go through these again. You gotta play this game because your studio's open now, right, Phil?
Well, actually, here's the thing. Yes and no. After about 33 years of running my studio, because of lack of business, because people are afraid, we've had to shut. I sold the building, and I'll be doing most of it virtually. I look like I found a spot. In January, I'll reopen, but much less classes. I'm not going to do the 35 classes a week. I'm doing 9. So.
Right. So, but like, that's interesting, ironic, etc. If you want to say whatever, that COVID killed your business. Would you say?
Yes. Yep.
And like, how many years of your life, bro, was that your biggest fear? Something killing your business.
I never thought it was. I mean, 2019, I had my best year ever. I was actually thinking of putting a cap on putting any more people in it because I want to make sure I service my people. Well, COVID did that for me, so I didn't have to worry about it. So, yeah.
But there's a lot of people. I had a client who paid me for 3 days a week sessions. I no longer have that client anymore, but that's not the point. The point I'm making is he had businesses. He was opening data centers for Google in Ghana, in the Philippines. You know what I'm saying? He was doing a lot. And this, you extrapolate that through everybody else's clients that were doing this big international business stuff. Dude, that shut down. And I'm not talking about, my measly, hopes to make $8,000 to $10,000 a month income. That would be nice. We're talking multi-million-dollar lives on the line kind of life savings type of deals that they had going. And I'm not like, these are one-time opportunities. They're never coming back around again.
No.
So COVID killed their businesses. And these people and it's like, what's the fear worth? What's the fear worth? Because I know men, I don't know them. Maybe I met them. I don't know. That stormed the beaches of Normandy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was for $0. That was for an ideal.
Yes.
This was an idea that we must do this because we must stop the spread of this evil that's in this nation. You know what I'm saying? We got to stop this. And they put their lives on the lines. Win, lose, or draw, they knew it was going to be a brutal day.
Yep.
They put fear on reserve. They faced their fear. They put fear on reserve. They feared. Anyway,
that's bravery.
They did that for less.
Yep.
That's bravery. They did that for less gross domestic product than, you know what I'm saying? We sacrificed those men. Who's to say? Let Hitler take over Europe. Who cares? As long as there's functioning, as long as humans are alive, who cares? As long as there's a functioning economy, it's like, that's where we're at now, bro.
Right. Here's what I'm afraid of.
We would never storm the beaches. Never again.
Nope.
This generation's not storming any beach, man.
No,
They're too afraid.
No. They're afraid to lay on the beach. You look at
the 50 sunscreen.
Right. The things you look at it, and our country, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I mean, here's my problem. We're the brave. We're the brave now. Because, and I'll tell you what, when you are no longer brave, you no longer are free. But as a society, we are not brave.
You're not allowed to be brave because that's toxic masculinity.
Yeah. I got you. I'm not going to say
it. But that's the whole thing though. But that whole machismo, man, that's evolution. That whole machismo thing came from this tough environment of our ancestors that had to do the haka before going into war.
Right. Yeah.
It was going into battle. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to, be nice about this. I'm going to be politically correct. I'm going to intimidate at all costs. And that was a survival trait. And now it's I don't know. I don't know.
It's looked down upon.
Everything is different. Yeah, that you do the haka, you're coming on too strong. Like, whoa, guys,
don't be aggressive.
Intense.
I know. That's like don't be aggressive. It's like whatever.
And I do like say Khabib, Khabib Nurmagomedov, his cool, calm, collected confidence, nobody can mess with,
Yeah.
He might not have to do the haka to get himself into that frame of mind. Why? Because like you said before, he is so well trained. He knows how he's going to make this thing go. He's mostly in control of all variables. And that's where training comes into play. Being trained, not just being strong. Like you guys, you're a master martial artist. You know what I'm saying? And that's a training that most people don't achieve. But you can achieve a basic level of strength. So that again, how to handle those endorphins or that adrenaline. You know how to handle your body. You know how to move. You know how to resist if someone pushes you. You know how to run fast in case you must.
Yep.
So one shouldn't. And then you're going to get all the positive results of, addressing your fear of what someone attacks me and I am meek. Be strong. First, you're not meek. Then learn how to do martial arts, and then everything builds from there. But that confidence can go through every part of your life, even if there is coronavirus out there. If you prepare yourself, take care of your body, eliminate all the comorbidities. If it's too late, it might be too late for you. But it's usually a matter of lifestyle. All these comorbidities are usually a matter of lifestyle.
Most of them are.
Most of them are. Like you said, like the 98% of people in this country that are morbidly obese or whatever the stat is, could stand to, increase their immunity by reducing their weight. And it's simple. It's literally a single variable equation. Solve for X. So it's not so complicated. It's simple, not easy. I don't know, like saving money, right? Simple, not easy. But it's again, you could reduce your fears by taking care of yourself. And then address your nature, whatever that is. Whether it's, look at all these nurses and doctors. Jesus, look at them. What's going on in their heads every day? They don't have an option to sit on the sidelines, stay home, and save lives. They are in fact encouraged to come and get coronavirus so they could treat clients or patients with coronavirus.
Well, how about
word? But if they were to get it, I have Katie's client, who's an oncologist, got it, and they told him to come to work with it. Swear to God. What is that? Dude's not supposed to be afraid of something that everybody else is supposed to be afraid of. That's a mixed message to me. I don't know. Yeah. And what if you're walking around with no symptoms and you're not showing symptoms? They got that big fucking thing in people. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm real bad. Edit me out. They got this in everybody's brain. Like, I don't know. It's you get me started. Now you get me addressing my fears. You get me addressing my fears with this only way I know how to is toxic masculinity, machismo. And that's where the swear words come from.
There's nothing wrong with cursing. I just don't do it here.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah. I don't want
to. No. I treat it like I'm teaching one of my kids' classes. So, yeah. Or
I need to get around more kids, I guess, and not swear.
Yeah. Well, then it's always funny because my dad would try not to swear when we were young, and you think that there's something absolutely wrong with your father because I would piss him off all the time and be like, "You stupid mother!" He'd be yelling at me and like hit me with a strap. But he did not want to. He didn't want to say the real words he wanted to use. So
Yeah, it's funny though. It's funny though. Now you can't get hit by a strap or swear. So.
Oh no, you can't do any of it. No, your kid can swear though; they can hit you. But before we wrap up though, I wanted to hit me up. Let's get going on the UbiquFit. Get you going there, man.
Yeah. I had a crazy couple weeks planned for it too. I got some of my. So we created we're calling it the Black Site. It's a secret location where we observe our own training protocols. It's a very small socially distant facility where we still do train jiu-jitsu and martial arts and everything like this.
Nice.
I'm admitting this because it's only 4 of us, because we're not going to stop our training. We can't.
No.
This is part of the stuff that makes us who we are.
Yeah.
It's the stuff that makes us ready to take on the dangers in the world, and we're not going to stop.
No.
And I think a lot of people, it's a small circle. Like I'm saying, I'm not going to say that we're not at more risk than others, but I'm telling you right now, and I'll tell anybody who's asking me, I'm not going to stop training, and I'm not going to stop training with my training partners that are willing to continue training.
Rob, I never stopped through the whole pandemic. I left my house every day, went to the studio, and had my couple guys I trained with. And you know what? Why? Because to me, it's worth the risk, because you lose your timing and you lose your ability. And I'm not going to do that because, And I'll tell you, I feel like I was back in, in feudal Japan when they suppressed all the other people, and then the martial arts got developed because the oppressed peoples that the Japanese were, ruling over did not permit them to train in fighting arts. This is what I feel like.
So it's easy to take them over. Yes, I like that. And it was out of necessity too. Like you were trying to keep your business alive.
Yep.
So it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to take on this risk. It was, I must go to work.
Yes.
That's what it was. I think it wasn't like, oh, there's dangers in the world, and it's like, no, we go to work.
We go to work. Here, I'll tell you. Listen, I'm a man. I get up every day and I go to work. That's what I do.
Go to work. What are you going to do? If we were primates wearing loincloths, the food's not going to gather itself. The food's not going to hunt itself.
Go get it.
And we're so spoiled now, man. I'm just going to peapod my grocery delivery and this and that. What I had to do, bro, because I'm not above that socioeconomic status where I got it like that. So my clients were asking me to go to the grocery store with them. And so here I am, because I am of that socioeconomic class where I had to go to work every day. I'm in Costco now shopping for my personal training clients because they don't want to go to the grocery store. Because why? Fear.
They're afraid again.
But they'll expose.
They're exposing you.
No problem. Whatever.
Expose them.
Because I'm gonna go. I'm gonna laugh at the fear or the risk that I'm taking on. I'm gonna take the precautions necessary. I'm gonna trust my training and instincts, and I'm gonna go. I'm like a little kitten. You know what I'm saying? A little kitten that would jump over the fence, not knowing what's on the other side. I just jumped.
Just gonna jump. Uh-oh.
Yeah, uh-oh. I mean, and so that's kind of how I am. So and I think I'm going to continue with this attitude, cautiously staying fit and trying to push and motivate people to come out of their shells to do the same thing while observing the necessary precautions to give them the peace of mind that they need, because I'm not the one that's bothered by it.
I agree with you 100%. Now, is there anything that you want to promote right now?
Really, no. Sorry, it's been kind of a quiet year. We're just now getting back up to normal. I'm going to be setting up my profile on UbiquFit, so we'll get more
awesome
content on that. So
we're
we'll
gonna have some fun with that.
I'll just keep working on that. How about we keep plugging?
All right, bro. Sounds good, man. I love it. All right, awesome.
It's been a pleasure, Phil.
Hey, thank you for coming on, and love you, man. And Doug, guys, great job today. And this is Master Phil in your corner. Strength and honor.